All right, welcome to our Hoopscast. We're going to talk about the SEC basketball tournament, and we'll be doing some Facebook Lives as well up in St. Louis. So make sure you check into those after Florida's games. Of course, they'll be very late at night, the first night anyway, which is Friday night when the Mighty Gators will be playing as the number 3 seed. I know you mentioned that the winner of that Florida-Kentucky game was really the loser because it meant that the media boys were going to have the late game. But hey, for Florida to have that bye, the double bye, is really huge. We're going to basically go through the how we think this is going to play out up in St. Louis. A weird place for an SEC tournament. I think it's kind of a shame that the conference is as good as it's ever been, and people are excited about it, and they're going to have it in place. I was there for NCAA gymnastics. You would not have known that it was taking place unless you were in the arena. That was a different place, but I just don't think the city's going to be alive with SEC hoopla.
And if you remember back in the day, the 2007, they were in the Sweet 16, the Elite Eight there. And that was at the TWA Dome where the Rams used to play. And it was definitely, it was hard to get food there. I remember there was the wait staff, and it took forever. So hopefully the downtown area has improved then, and they have more waitresses and waiters there than they had in 2007.
It's actually pretty nice. The hotel where I'm staying is actually right around the corner from a great sports bar.
Okay, good.
Called the Over Under. It's a great name for a sports bar. But we'll see how it all goes, and we'll be up there starting Wednesday, starting with these first 2 games. We'll go right through them. Georgia and Vanderbilt playing at 7 o'clock Eastern time. And, of course, Georgia, with a loss, could be the last game Mark Fox ever coached.
Yeah, it was interesting. I was just talking to Chris Dortch on the podcast, and he said that Tom Crean has pretty much moved in his office furniture for that job. So this is one for Mark Fox. I think the Georgia team will rally. I don't understand how a team with Deontay Mayton, who's one of the best players, is not better. And maybe that is an indictment on Mark, but I think they're going to pull it out and beat Vanderbilt at least in that first game.
Yeah. Somebody had a great tweet that said they've had 2 Players of the Year under Mark Fox, and in the 2 cases they went 31-30. So that doesn't say a lot for him as a coach, but that's been the knock on him, is he doesn't get enough players. He gets a player, but he can't get a lot of them. The other game, which will be 25 minutes after the conclusion of this game, South Carolina taking on Ole Miss, and Ole Miss just wants it to get over with.
Yeah, interim coach. They're not in a position, certainly they look great against Florida in January. It's amazing. I tweeted this out, 2-5 versus the Wednesday team, Florida.
Yeah.
Imagine if they just did a little bit better against the
5-2. Would have been unbelievable.
Exactly. Then they would have been SEC champions. But it is what it is, and sometimes it's not about who you play, but when you play them. And back then, Ole Miss was engaged. Now they're not. So I think South Carolina pulls away and wins that game rather easily.
Yeah, I think they'll be a little bit too rugged for them. So we both have Georgia and South Carolina. We're going with seeds. This, to me, is the most interesting game on Friday, no matter what happens down here. On Thursday. Alabama and A&M. I think Alabama wins that game and they're in. If they don't, they're out. I think it's not A&M's in because of their quad 1 wins, but Alabama to me is right on the edge.
Yeah, and because of that, I think Alabama is going to play with a little more desperation, and they just played Texas A&M on Saturday, so there's a familiarity there. And even though they lost that game in College Station, they played them awfully tough, and I think that they might be due. I mean, they've lost 5 in a row. But I think they're going to come out with a little more desperation in that game, and that's why I have Alabama moving on.
Well, I'm going to take A&M. I think there's a reason Alabama's lost 5 in a row. And I just don't think they're playing very well, and I think Colin Sexton's got 1 foot out the door. So I'm going to take A&M in that one. And then Missouri, we've got them going against Georgia. This is the kind of game Georgia could win because Georgia seems to play up to its opponents, but I'm going to stick with the 5 seed, the Missouri Tigers.
Yeah, I think the home crowd factor there, they're going to have some fans there. Who knows about Michael Porter? That's the big X factor. Is he going to take off his Superman cape and come out there and finally play?
But is that a plus or a negative sometimes?
Of course, yeah.
All of a sudden you insert a guy who hadn't played all year. I don't think he's going to play.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
LSU, Mississippi State, this is a game that really means nothing. All it means is who gets to play Tennessee next, and then if Mississippi State won, they've got to win the tournament, I think. And I think LSU the same thing. I don't think either one of these teams has any chance, no matter what they do, unless they win the whole thing. Mississippi State made that run, and then they faltered at the end of the last 2 games.
Yeah, and LSU beat them pretty soundly, too. This is another recent rematch I wouldn't be
That was
surprised
in
if LSU.
Baton Rouge, right?
It was in
Yeah.
Baton Rouge, but LSU thumped them, and I wouldn't be surprised if LSU takes that confidence and maybe pulls out another win there.
The interesting thing is, since Kentucky's playing in the early part of the bracket, there might be 10 people at this game. Okay, so we both have South Carolina playing Arkansas. And again, Arkansas needs to show it can win away from home. I mean,
Yeah.
they have played really well at home, but not so well when they're anywhere else. But I think they'll be good enough to take care of South Carolina. And they've got the big guy to counteract, obviously, a Silva in the middle.
Silva, yeah. They are missing their power forward, though. Dustin Thomas
Yep.
kicked off the team earlier in the week. They do have Trey Thompson, though. They have a little bit of depth. I think enough depth in the backcourt, in the front court, to get by. And don't forget, South Carolina will be playing the night before. So that might
Right.
not affect them until Friday night in terms of, not having that player in the rotation.
We got Auburn. You got them against Alabama. I've got them against A&M. Either way, they're the number 1 seed, but not with the Coach of the Year, which makes me very happy. But Auburn's kind of a hard team to figure right now because they've struggled a little bit more lately, and obviously McLemore being out's a big factor.
Yeah, no question. And I think Texas A&M, if you have them going, I have Alabama, but Texas A&M, that's a bad matchup in terms of their size and their physicality. So I think Texas A&M are, I'll say that Alabama will knock them off. I think they're going to make a little run here.
So we've got Auburn out first day on Friday. That, of course, is a 1 o'clock game. After that, Kentucky. It'll be Cat Lewis.
Yeah.
Look, it doesn't matter where you play the game. You play it on the moon, and there's going to be Kentucky's going to have the home crowd advantage. And even against a team like Missouri, which you think would have a little bit, only 100-something miles away, but I don't think it matters. Kentucky fans bought these tickets up a long time ago before they knew their team was going to be up and down all year. I think Kentucky wins. I think you're going to see Kentucky play at a different level in this tournament and more like what they did in the last 4. Don't forget, though, that 4-game win streak wasn't against the best teams in the conference.
Yeah, no question. But Calipari's teams always do tend to play well here, even though he said, after the game, he really doesn't care about this tournament. But he said, it's important to the fans. And his record in the SEC tournament has been very good. Even when he's at bad teams, he's usually done a good job here and got his team to play well here. So I would agree that I think Kentucky's going to move on.
7 o'clock game, Tennessee will be playing. I got Mississippi State going here.
Yeah.
The Vols are a really good team. And the thing is, they keep throwing big guys at you. They can shoot. They can do a lot of different things. There's a reason why they're co-champions. I have Tennessee advancing as a 2 seed.
I agree with you there. Tennessee, I think they're deep, which plays well in this tournament. Lamonte Turner, SEC 6th Man of the Year, co-6th Man of the Year. They've got, just from watching them play recently in Knoxville, just a rugged, tough, physical team that plays together. Not a great shooting team, but a team that really defends and gets after you. So I think Tennessee moves on.
And, of course, the Mighty Gators play at midnight or whatever time it ends up being. It'll be interesting. But there's a part of me that says, well, this team is predicated on shooting. They're going to be playing in a different place they're not used to. You don't know what the sight lines are like there, and makes me want to pick Arkansas. But I'm not with Florida winning its last 3. I'm going to take the Gators to win.
Yeah, Florida always matches up well with Arkansas because I think even if they don't shoot well, Arkansas likes to play up and down, and I think that plays to Florida's hands. So I think this is a game where Florida can get some run-out baskets, and that usually breeds confidence in their shooting as well when they're facing a team that presses them and likes to go up and down the floor. And Chiozza is so good with the ball that they'll be able to handle the press, I believe.
And continue to play the kind of defense they've been playing. Again, if they get beat, it's not the worst thing in the world, but it will affect their seeding. So you got Alabama against Kentucky. I've got A&M against Kentucky. Either way, I think we both think Kentucky will end up winning that game.
Yeah. I think the Cats are, certainly they have the depth and they have, the talent to win that game. And I think, if Alabama goes that far or Texas A&M, they're going to be pretty worn out playing 2 games in 2 days as well.
And we have Florida and Tennessee in that game. Tennessee, of course, won the game up in Bowling Thompson, which I think was a major factor in that game. But I tell you what, if they single team Grant Williams the whole game, they're going to lose again.
Yeah, no question. No, what was amazing was Florida actually out-rebounded Tennessee in that game. They did play tough to an extent and physical, but, we're 6 for 24 from 3, but still came within 4. I still like the Vols, though. I just think, their toughness and the fact that they just defend really well, I think you're going to find a way to shut Florida down again and make them one-dimensional and make them try to beat you inside. And Rick Barnes has done a really good coaching job with this team.
Tremendous. He's Coach of the Year. I'm taking the Gators, though. Believe it or not, I'm not trying to be a homer here. I just got a feeling that this feels like it's going to be another one of those 3 times Florida and Kentucky play in the final. I can feel it coming. I don't like it, but I can feel it coming. And I've got Kentucky winning it all this year to I don't know if Calipari makes him happy or not. It may make him sad that they've got to play that many games.
So you don't see the Gators being able to beat them 3 times, although I have Tennessee moving on. I'm going to pick Tennessee, and Tennessee is going to beat Kentucky 3 times. And I just think between Grant Williams, Rick Barnes, that experienced group, the experience will beat the youth. And they're not that much more experienced than Kentucky, believe it or not, but they do have the sophomores and the juniors that I think will be able to handle it.
And one reason I have Florida going all the way here is they're playing good teams. When they're playing good teams, they play their best.
Yeah.
You had the great stat that they're 2-5 against the Wednesday teams. There's Kentucky would be the team you wouldn't think would go advance because they're 0-5 against the top 3 seeds this year. But I got a Kentucky-Florida final with Kentucky winning. We'll see how it all shakes out. Since the media was so wrong with the preseason predictions, why are anybody even watching this?
I mean, I had Tennessee 13, so what do I know, right?
They did better than 13. All right, we will be coming to you live on Facebook, so make sure you check that out after the Florida games up in St. Louis. We hope you guys have enjoyed this, and you hope you're going to enjoy our coverage up there. We got a lot of stuff planned for you, so make sure you click on to Gatorsports.com. Until next time, Pat Dooley and Kevin Brockway of the Gainesville Sun saying so long from the Sunshine State.